Okay, we're getting ready for our second race of the day. The IndyCar race is about to begin. We'll have Victor Abreu on red, Jim Wood on white, Gary Worden on blue, James Benz on purple, and Rick Swartz starting on black. Let's see if we can get these guys to racing. Well, I'm gonna give you a shot of the cars first. Hold on a second. Let's look at the cars. All right, this is the cars today. The white one is Victor Abreu. The red, white, and blue one is Jim Wood on white. The yellow one is Gary Worden on blue. The blue car is James Benz on purple, and the green car is Rick Swartz on black. And so that's the way the cars are. Okay, gentlemen. The next race is a handicap. All right, race fans. Here we go. Jim Wood and Gary Worden are tied 21 each. I think Jim just pulled a little bit ahead of Gary. Victor Abreu and James are tied at 19 each. And Rick Swartz is at 17. Fast laps. Gary turned a 5.310. Jim turned a 5.217. Victor a 5.780. James a 5.519. Rick Swartz a 5.602. None of those are remarkably fast laps, but hey, we didn't have many wrecks. So we got Gary and Jim both with 21, and both Victor and James at 19 and Rick at 17. A lot of race ahead. So let's see what happens on this next heat. Wood is leading with 43 laps, Gary with 42. Victor Abreu at 40, James at 40, and Rick Swartz at 37. So there's a good race there. Good race between Gary and Jim, good race between the other three. Jim is going to green, which should give him an advantage over Gary, who is going to black. Victor Abreu is going to blue, and James yellow. So those two should run about even this heat. Rick Swartz is on orange. Rick could very well pick up a lap on those two on this particular heat. Fast laps. We had Jim Wood with a 5.218, Gary with a 5.318, Victor Abreu with a 5.580, James a 5.346, and Rick Swartz had a fast lap of 5.529. Nothing remarkable, but they do seem to be picking up a little bit on speed. Jim got 22 laps to Gary's 21, Victor 21, James 21, and Rick 20. So it was a good heat for everybody. So let's just go to racing and let things happen. Okay, Jim Wood still leading with 65 laps. Who dat? Gary, second place with 64. James at 61, Victor at 60, and Rick Swartz at 59. Those three got a real race going, and they're on some pretty good lanes. Rick is going to white, so that's a little difficult, but Jim Wood is on blue. He should turn good time on blue. Gary's on yellow. He ought to turn good time on yellow. James is on the fast lane of orange, so he ought to pick up a lap on somebody. Victor Abreu is on purple, and Victor should be able to run purple pretty good, and maybe he might be able to hold James off on getting a lap on him. Rick Swartz is on white. That can be a challenge, but he can run it. Fast lap times, Jim Wood turned a 5.264, Gary a 5.355, James a 5.412, Victor a 5.654, and Rick a 5.403. Now let me change the camera so we can go back to racing. Let's see. Okay, Jim Wood is still 1 lap ahead of Gary Warden. Jim is now on purple. Gary has already run purple and black, so he's on yellow. So he's probably going to pick up at least 1 lap on Jim Wood right now on this next heat. Well, Gary's on orange. Oh, mercy. He's going to pick up a lap, maybe 2. James goes from orange to white, so James is running opposite Jim. So James got a fairly tough lane. Victor A goes from purple to black, so Victor's got a tough lane. Rick Swartz goes from white to red, so he's got a tough lane. So fast laps, nobody had any remarkable fast lap. James had the fastest time of that heat. He turned a 5.271. Jim Wood turned a 5.326. Gary a 5.337. Victor Abreu a 5.599, and Rick Swartz a 5.629. Jim and Gary each got 22 laps that heat. James got 21, Victor Abreu 20, and Rick Swartz got 21 also. So your lap totals are Jim at 87, Gary 86, James 82, Victor and Rick both at 80. So could be an exciting race. Let's go back to racing. just want everyone to know, Victor Abreu is stingier and cheaper than Jim Wood. He's got a gear that's driving us all crazy because he won't change it. But because he don't want to spend the $5 for a new gear. Alright, so let's see where we are. Jim Wood still in the lead, 109 to Gary's 108. James and Victor and Rick, they're still in a pretty good race. James at 103, Victor at 101, and Rick Swartz at 100. Now here's the interesting thing. Jim is going to a hard lane. Gary's going to a lane he likes, which is white. It's a hard lane for most people, but Gary, it's not a hard lane. James is on red, and Victor Abreu and Rick Swartz are both on easy lanes. So both of them should pick up a lap on James. Will they? We'll have to wait and see. Fast laps. On purple, Jim turned to 5.360, not impressive. Gary turned to 5.211 on orange, not impressive. James turned to 5.397. Victor a 5.573. Rick a 5.589. For whatever reason, maybe the rubber buildup on the track, but these cars are capable of turning pretty close to 5-second laps, 5 flat, and they're not doing it. So here we go to racing. go. You know, there could be 16 people racing in this race, and the only race that me and Gary know is between each other. We just love to race each other, and we give each other a hard time. If he comes out, I just tell him how much I appreciate him waiting on me. Yeah, we have a good time. So one of the other racers just took Gary out just a moment ago, and I basically caught up to him. So he did not pick up a lap on me when he should have. So oh well, such is life. So now I'm on yellow, Gary's on red. Now Gary can run red very well, so I may not gain anything on him, or I may. Alright, so Jim leads with 131 to Gary's 130. James is at 123, Victor 122, and Rick 121. So there's a good race right there. Fast laps. Jim turned a 3.95, not impressive. Gary on white turned a 5.254. James a 5.615. Victor, that was on red, so that's not unusual. Victor turned a 5.536. Rick Swartz at 5.479. Rick Swartz is coming alive today, and he is in this race. Jim and Gary both got 22 laps that heat, and James got 20 and Victor 21. So go to racing. Okay. I had a little help from my friends on that heat. I picked up a lap on Gary. So Jim is leading with 154, Gary with 152, James with 145, Victor Abreu with 144, and Rick Swartz with 142. They still have a good race going. Gary comes off a red and goes to green. Jim comes off a yellow and goes to the easiest lane, orange. So is mission impossible. He's got to gain 2 laps in this our final heat. Jim just has to drive Miss Daisy and not wreck or get wrecked. James is leading that group with 145 laps, up 1 over Victor Abreu. Victor Abreu is on white. James is on blue. Rick Schwartz is on purple. So we'll have an interesting race here. No exceptional times. The fastest lap was Victor Abreu, turned a 5.258 on orange. So let's go back to racing and see who wins this thing. Yes, sir. All right. You're very dependable as a photographer, Rick. All right. So Jim Wood won that one. 176 laps to Gary's 174. Victor Abreu had 165 to James's 166 to Rick Schwartz's 162. And so it was a fun race. I think most of us all had a good time. Victor Abreu did finally change that noisy gear, thank goodness. So now we're going to swing a camera to the podium and see if we can get a shot of the podium. So let me move the camera. racing with us, and we're going to go into LMPs next. It'll be a handicap division, so I hope you stay around and watch that next.